Welcome to METATAILOR 2.0.
There we go. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. We should be live, ready to go. All right, we got 2 viewers. Cool. We'll get more. I just started up. I'm a little late. OBS was not being friendly today. Hi, everybody. You're live. Any other news? Nope, we're good on the Discord. All right, hello. Got some copyright-free music playing in the background. Just giving it a second for people to see that we're online and getting ready. I'll open up METATAILOR, run my updates. Hello. Hi, everybody. We got a couple more people on. Hello, and welcome to the stream. Welcome to the METATAILOR channel. We will be playing in METATAILOR today. I pulled a cool character off of CGTrader. It's called like the Orc Assassin or something like that. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that. It's a free 3D model. You could follow along to the same thing I'm doing. I'll show you where I got that in just a second. But we'll be answering your questions. I'll be keeping an eye out in the Discord. I'll be keeping an eye out in the YouTube chat, anything like that, if anybody has any questions or concerns. But we are live. All right. Hello. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and get started. I got METATAILOR pulled up. We'll take a look at what we're messing with. We'll open up Maya. Actually, I'll open that up right now while we're talking. So that's the other program I'm going to be jumping in and using. Yeah, so today we are bringing in a character. I pulled this cool Orc Assassin off of CGTrader. I'll show you it in just a sec. I'll put the link in the chat as well. I'll quick grab that. The idea is I'm going to bring it into Maya, take a look at it, start separating out those assets in Maya. Last time we did this stream, if you go back and look at our last live stream, we did it in Blender. Today we're going to do it in Maya. And then we're just going to bring these assets into METATAILOR. And while I'm doing that, while I'm going through and bringing all this in there, feel free to ask your questions about METATAILOR. We have some other METATAILOR people here in the chat to help answer those questions with me, but I'll try to answer those questions on stream. But that's what we're going for. So let me go ahead and drop this in the chat right there. So I was just looking for a random character, something completely random to work with today. And this is what I was able to grab. It is this cool Orc Assassin-like character right here. I'll make my head a little smaller here. So this is what we're going to pull in. We're going to take a look at the model itself and see if I can pull in this model as an avatar. And then we'll look at the clothing. We can definitely bring in some of the clothing. I did take a peek at that earlier. I just need to see if they deleted faces underneath the clothing, because that'll determine if we can bring in the avatar too. But it's completely free through CGTrader. The only thing is they say, hey, don't use it for AI, which that's fine with me. All right, let's go ahead and close out of this. So today we're using METATAILOR. Everybody here, hopefully you know what METATAILOR is. If you don't, METATAILOR is the world's largest self-adapting 3D clothing library, as our beautiful website says right here. You can add clothes, bring in clothes, join our pro users, and get clothes that are already provided, and put them on any avatar anytime, and you can swap them easily. It is completely seamless, pun intended, because we're talking about tailoring and clothing. It's completely seamless swapping clothing from one avatar to another. You can see it in this demo here. We're going to do it ourselves here in a little bit. But we have free versions and pro versions. You can kind of scroll down. You can see our pricing plan and everything else that's in there. So the free version is $0. The pro plan is usually $35 a month, but right now there is a limited time offer. You can get your first month for $10. So now is the time to jump in there, play with pro, look at all those assets, get a feel for how pro works. I love pro. Pro is the better option of the two. Free has a lot of great stuff, and you can do pretty much anything you need to do in the free version, but the pro version gives you an access to a massive library. I think let's go back to where I was there a second ago. How many imports, how many exports? It's a whole bunch. I think it's unlimited. Yep, unlimited slots for outfit slave slots, unlimited imports, unlimited exports. That's what I thought. I've been doing it all day, all week, all month, and it's never yelled at me to do any less. So unlimited imports and exports with the Pro. Pro is a fantastic option. But yeah, once again, it is $10 for your first month to jump into METATAILOR. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and play in the app. Gloves and dealing with the fingers. That would be my main question. Gloves, 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 gloves. Everybody always asks about gloves and fingers. Gloves and fingers, I think we are hoping to push out by the first part, Q1 of 2025. That is our current goal. Fingers, hands, phalanges, they're a little difficult. So it's taking a lot of work, a lot of programming, a lot of just building from the ground up a system to get our fingers to move. Because in video games, they don't even really put gloves over hands. They just swap out the model, swap out the hand, delete the whole hand and put a glove in there. So gloves and fingers are very difficult, but we are looking to push those. Like I said, Q1 of 2025. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I saw in the chat. I believe it was yesterday. Somebody's asking that same exact question. Fingers are our #1 request, and we are pushing it. We're trying. We're doing our best, but it's a different beast. It's a different monster. Nobody's done anything with physics like gloves like that before, so we're trying. Stick with us. It's a lifesaver app. It is, absolutely. I completely agree. Absolute lifesaver. So I've got Autodesk Maya open. If you're not familiar with Maya, I'm not going to be in here too long. I'm going to do some really simple commands. Essentially what I need to do is take a look at our avatar and just look at all the assets and export them out individually. So it's going to take a little bit, so feel free to ask your questions while I do that. I'm not going to do anything complex or edit or cut or do anything with this. It's very simple. Maya is free to students. A lot of our users are students. You go to college and you get Maya for free. Otherwise, Maya does have a subscription plan that is not as affordable as some of the other ones, I regret to say, but they do have a lot of features. It is my bread and butter. It's the one I'm more used to, but everything I'm doing in here, you can do in Blender. You can do in 3ds Max. You can do in other 3D programs like that. And like I said, last week's stream, we did it in Blender. So if you cannot afford a Maya, which is completely understandable, it's hugely expensive, take a look and see what we can do in Blender and how you can use Blender. Blender is a very easy, very powerful tool that is free. We're just changing it up a little bit today. All right. Let's go ahead and first take a look at what I downloaded. So I downloaded, there's METATAILOR. Hi, METATAILOR. I downloaded this assassin, that orc assassin that I dropped in the chat that we peeked at the beginning of the stream. And what it gave me 2 files. It gave me a textures file and a base mesh file. It also had an animation option, but we're not using that right now. So I got the base mesh. And what I was really happy to see is it gave us a base mesh Maya file and a base mesh FBX. So the base mesh Maya file had a lot of information in it. It had a full rig. But what I'm more interested in today is looking at that FBX right now. It also gave me a huge texture pack with all the different things separated. That might be a little bit difficult, but we'll do our best. We'll try to get that uploaded into METATAILOR because they have it split up. Everything has a diffuse and emission layer and everything else that goes along with that. So that's a little bit of a bear, but we'll take a look at it. All right, so I'm in Maya. First thing I'm going to do is come up where it says File, and I'm just going to choose Import. We got to take a look at this. We got to do a little bit of work. Desktop. There's that assassin. Grab that. Oops, not the texture. Up one. Grab that base mesh. And like I said, I'm going to look at the FBX. So the reason why I'm not just opening the Maya file is the Maya file has a whole human IK rig, a full rig that has a lot of information on it that, quite frankly, is not necessary. This one kind of has some of that as well. For now, we can see about, like I said, importing those in. But here is our orc. There's accessories. Let's just quick take a look at this avatar. I'm hitting Control H or just the letter H. Both do the same thing. Up, and there is my answer right there. They deleted the parts that do not exist underneath. So this armor, the skin on our character right here, that only exists where we can see it, which is extremely common for video game characters, rig characters. So I will not be able to import this character in as an avatar to METATAILOR, but that's okay because we have plenty of other avatars in METATAILOR we can apply these clothes to. So that's something you always want to look for. When you're looking to see if there's an avatar, you need to have the chest, you need to have the arms. That's why MetaHuman or all those other apps out there, Character Creator, are better for bringing in actual avatars and models because they give you the rest of the body. They give you the pecs, the chest, the belly, all that. It's not hidden underneath the clothes. So if you find a free 3D model or create your own 3D model of a humanoid body, you're more than welcome to bring that in. This one, however, today won't work for us. So I'm going to go through and let's just delete this rig then. I don't need that rig. Let's get it out of the way. I just click those two sets of locators and controls and I hit delete on them. And the next thing we can do is start going through and deciding what we want to bring in. So we can open up that folder again. I hold down Shift and click on it to open everything. And let's take a look. We got these weapons. Those would be cool to bring in. Maybe we'll bring in those weapons at the end. It looks like the same weapon twice, so I'll just delete this one. There's weapon 3. I can hit Shift P, take it out. All right, head mesh, eyes. We don't need any of that. You can tap F on your keyboard at any time. It's a really cool character. You can see it doesn't even have a mouth. So we can get rid of our whole headpiece right there. Delete that. Our shoulders. These are 2 separate shoulders. So you have the option of bringing them in together and modeling those shoulders together, or you can bring them in separate. One piece, left piece, right piece, and get them attached. I think I'm going to bring them in together for this model. So I'll just go ahead and hit Shift P and break it out of this whole hierarchy right here. I can delete this empty group. What is this? Our legs. These are actual boots. I like these boots. We'll hit Shift P and take them out. For this one, they are identical, so I will delete half of them. Let's go ahead and delete the legs. To focus on just the boots, all I have to do is solo them. And there's an option for soloing. I'm trying to remember where the button is for it to isolate it. I know, right here. So it's right here, or it's Control 1 on your keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate these out. So with shoes, whenever I'm working with shoes, I find it a lot easier. Instead of trying to match our models to both shoes, if we have the opportunity, delete half of them. So I'm going to right click on this portion of the model here and choose face. And I can just click and drag and select all those faces and hit delete. That way, I just have one boot right here. Just checking our chat there. Control 1 again, bring everything back. We've got some feet right here. The feet attached to the body. Amazing. I can just delete all of it. Get rid of all of it. I don't need that. I've got this boot right here. Come up to our helm. Amazing. Hit Shift P, take that out. Hand armor. All right, so this hand armor, we were talking about gloves, we were talking about fingers. This hand armor is a little bit different. I think it's going to cover the back of the hand, so we can bring this in. If it went any farther to those fingers, I would either opt to skip it altogether or edit it or change it, but I think this just covers the back of the hand. So we'll go ahead and hit Shift P, or we'll make it that. We'll make it so it only covers the back of the hand. Hand armor, that works for me. We got belts. Belts hanging off his chest, belts hanging off everything right here, so we'll go ahead and pull those belts off. We got our armor base right here. Just spin around it, hit Control 1, take a look at it. You can see where we'll probably have normal maps and stuff like that applied to it. Shift P will take it out. Control 1 to bring everything back again. We're doing pretty good. Toga parts. So something like this, our toga. Let's go ahead and hit Control 1. This is a lot of parts. This is a lot of parts around the hips. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parts around the hips. For something like this, instead of bringing in each part individually, I'm going to bring them in as a stack. And that stack is going to all be under one FBX. And that'll give me a chance to apply different textures to different parts of that. So we got toga parts 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I will take just this whole group out. That way, when I'm ready to go ahead and grab that unit, I can grab that whole unit instead of trying to take each individual piece. Bottle glass, we will keep those separate. Those are pretty neat, but they have the accessories. All right, we'll take this out. We'll address that one differently than all the rest. Okay, so I've deleted all the unnecessary information that I need. I can check my model. Over here, it shows us our axis. It has a Y up axis, which is the same as METATAILOR. METATAILOR uses a Y up axis. And the reason why that's important is sometimes if you steal stuff, or grab some free assets from Unreal. Not steal, just joking. If you grab some assets from Unreal or other places on the web, sometimes they'll have a Z up access. And then they'll just kind of come in sideways for METATAILOR, which is fine. You can edit it, you can rotate it and move it in METATAILOR, get it to match still, but it helps to just have it set up properly in the first place. Don't make your life harder than it has to be. Just set it up properly, export it, and you're good to go. So I like to make sure everything's on a Y up axis before I export it out, and this is. All right, now for the tedious part. We're just going to go part by part and export out everything that we want to take a look at and bring in. So let's go ahead and start with the easy one, our weapon right here. Wow. When I took it out of the group, it made it tiny and small. I can scale that up a little bit. So if anything is locked out, all you have to do in Maya is come over here to your channel box editor, highlight everything that's locked with this little gray icon right here. Like I said, this isn't a Maya learning channel. I'm just showing you one way to do it. If you get your assets into Blender, you attack this differently. If you bring them into 3ds Max, you attack it differently. And all I'm going to do is unlock selected. Let's try that again. Oh, not hide. Well, let's go ahead and fix that. Need to find our scale. Move. Rotate. Move. This is just me fixing an error. I clicked too fast. There we go. Grabbed all those and try that again. There we go. Hey, it's got a keyframe. Now it doesn't. All right, now I can grab that asset. Oh man, where'd you go? No keyframe. Now I can grab that asset, scale it up, bring it up here, and I'll scale it back down just to about the size I think it was at, somewhere around there. It's probably like 15 times its regular size. I think that's appropriate. Bring it forward. And just to be safe, I'll do modify, freeze transformations, and that'll just save in my channel box editor anything I did. All right, so let's start with this weapon. Let's do File, Export Selection. I'm going to click this little box right here. Just hit Export Selection. It's already set to FBX. It's not throwing it in the right spot, so I'm going to grab my Assassin MT, and I'll create a quick new folder and call this Maya Exports. And let's name this Knife. I'll call it Orc Knife, in case I ever create any other knives or anything like that. Export Selection. All right, this knife is done. This Maya file, I'm not going to be saving it. I'm not going to be saving anything in here. I can just go ahead and delete it. Grab our shoulders. Remember, I wanted to bring these in as one unit and place them that way. So with these shoulders selected, I don't need to worry about unlocking anything. I just have to hit App File, Export Selection, and I'm going to call this Orc Shoulder. Done with it, delete it. Legs, File, Export Selection, call it Orc Pant. It's not pants, it's only one Orc Pant, because it's kind of a combination of the pants. It goes over the thigh, the knee, the shoe. You can call it boot, call it whatever you want. Our helm. So our helm is one piece. We might have to come back in and separate this top part right here from this bottom part right here, from this mask, but we will first try to export it all in as one and see what happens. We won't know until we try it. So File, Export Selection, and we'll call this Orc Hood. Our hand armor. Same thing with our boots. One thing I forgot to do here is go to face mode and just delete half of it. We can always mirror it over. So if we have one that is identical on either side, I can always mirror it over. All right, so there's that one hand. You don't necessarily need to delete the faces inside here. Just know that you could accidentally pull or push them and stuff like that. I'm going to leave them right there. I've actually had some luck kind of leaving those face caps on there. So File, Export Selection. We'll call this one Orc. Is that a Grieve when it's on your hand? Armor. What are you called? Armor name. Let's see. A Vambrace. It's a Vambrace. Orc Vambrace. So what I love about, I love a lot of stuff about METATAILOR, but why I chose our Orc Assassin today, like I said, I was looking for a random thing. Last time we did a punk rocker and a Roman centurion, so I decided to dial it in a little bit more fantasy. Call this one, we'll take you and the armor together. Yes, we'll take you and the armor together. Is because I think this would be fantastic for creating D&D characters. That's one of the first things I thought of when I was first learning about METATAILOR was, what can I do with this? What's something I can apply this to in my everyday life? And at the time, I was really, I'm really into Baldur's Gate. Just thought, oh, you can make custom D&D characters. You can create them for your games, bring in avatars, swap out outfits. You can, as an animator, as an artist myself in ZBrush, I can make magic items in different programs and bring them in and then just attach them to my character and swap them out for different character portraits and use them that way. And I always thought that was really cool. So that's kind of my inspiration also for the Orc Assassin here. Go ahead and export selection. All right. So you saw I selected both of those and exported them. That's going to create one FBX file, but it's going to have two sets of textures between them. Now, one thing I will take a quick mental note of right now, because I do know whoever created this just named this one Fong13 and this one Fong13. So we might have to do some playing with it to find those textures and stuff like that. But it's just something to take like a mental note of. All right, now we've got our whole toga. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-1 and take a look at this. Do we need... Yeah, we need that. I was like, this under part right here, do we need that? Because that could cause some issues. So just taking a look at the cod piece right here, for lack of a better term. The belt and all this stuff connects on the top, so I'm just wondering if I needed this part under here, because getting that to match that could become a problem. If that does become a problem, I could just go into face mode right here. I said I wasn't going to do too much editing or deleting, but I could probably just delete that part right there, and I'm really tempted to just do that now, because I can see that becoming an issue with our physics. So I'm just going to delete those faces. We'll see if I break anything later on. We'll leave the front part. We won't do too much with the front part there, but we'll delete that kind of under the pelvis part right there. All right, we'll grab the rest of this. File. Export selection. Call it Orc Toga. And delete all this. And then our last part, where's our accessories? We've got a whole bunch of really cool little like vials and bottles and stuff like that. So we can either bring them in as, once again, a whole unit, or I can take all of these and bring them in as their own. If you want to get really noodly, what you can do is, say, grab this strap right here and separate it from the cork. And that way you can create some cool assemblies and groups and kind of slip those bottles underneath those and have METATAILOR do any kind of extra wrapping for you. So I might just do that for at least one of these. For this bottle right here, so let's go ahead and first select everything, shift right click, and choose the option separate. That's going to separate the bottle from the cork, the bottle from the cork, the little leather strap piece from the cork from the bottle. So you've got all that set up. Next, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to recombine some of these. Like these two right here, I'll just combine them. This whole set right here, I'll just combine that. This whole set right here, I'll just combine that. This one right here, I will also combine, but once again, you can get a little noodly if you wanted to. You can take this strap right here, make that separate, so that way you can kind of create assemblies. But for this one, I am going to take everything and combine that. But what I wanted to do with this, the reason why I separated it in the first place was I wanted to take this strap out and this bottle out and see if I can't kind of just place this strap in multiple places around our character and see how that works. So we will go ahead and start with this bottle right here. File, export selection. Call it Orc Bottle Ring. Delete it. We'll call this right here, File, Export Selection, Orc Flask Ring. And delete. We'll grab this one, File, Export Selection, call it Orc Bottle Strap. And delete that one. And our last one, we'll call you File, Export Selection, call it Orc Flask. Just the flask, no ring. Ooh, I lost a light there. We're back. So there's flask. Oh, it has this weird liquid in here. Delete. That's just unnecessary frames. That tells me the other ones probably have that as well, which should be, okay. Let's do this. Let's grab all of you, hit combine. The reason why I'm adjusting and editing is because if we bring in those transparent, those layers, those transparencies, anything like that, and it's just an empty glass vial, that might look weird. So I want to make sure I have whatever liquid they have textured inside there for whatever UV maps and anything else that go along with that. So I'll just quick recombine that and I'll export this again. This one was just flask and I'll overwrite it. Yep. All right. And then finish it up right here with File, Export Selection, Orc Flask Strap. All right, I'm done with Maya. I'll close out. If I have any issues or anything like that, we'll just open up the whole file again and try again. But for now, that's all I need. Okay, let's go ahead and open up METATAILOR and start bringing some of these assets in and see what we're working with, see how well this works. All right, I got a whole bunch of questions in here while I take a look and start firing that up. May not apply to this model, but if you do have capped holes, you want to remove the ends on it. Okay, we'll take a look at it. I've had some success with it before. Can we change the pose where we adjust the meshes on a custom avatar? For example, having a T-pose. When fitting the clothing in METATAILOR, it will fit to the default bind pose. But you can change the pose of it in the animations tab. We'll take a look at that. You can also have it force a T-pose on an import to the avatar rig. Thanks, that's cool to know. Think about trying Pro? Yep, absolutely. It's $10 for your first month if you're thinking about trying Pro. I'm using Pro version right now. Everything I'm doing in here, all the tools, all those options are in the Pro. So let's go ahead and fire up a new project. We'll call it our Orc Assassin. Granted, I don't have an Orc avatar. Maybe we'll look for an Orc avatar in a little bit. All right, so we've got our Orc Assassin. Let's start importing in some assets. So let's do import. Cloth and accessories. Go to my desktop where I have my Orc Assassin right here. Find those Maya exports. Let's start with something easy, easy-ish. We'll do the Orc Hood. Because remember I said we might have to separate that if I notice any issues. There's our Orc Hood, very cool. So we got our helm matte. So let's go ahead and see if we can't find a color for that. Let's click on color. Jump on back, take a look at our textures. We've got our helm albedo. Let's go ahead and hit open and see what this TGA looks like. It's thinking, it's working. I can see some instant changes here. We'll dial up our value. Oh, look at that. Sorry, I was working in Substance Paint earlier today, so I keep trying to twist the camera with the Substance, and in Maya, my tools. Oh, that's really cool. I really like the look of that. All right, let's go ahead and add a normal map. Gloss, metallic, normal. Ambient occlusion, did it give us an ambient occlusion? It did. So something we also have to be careful with while we're here on this stream is the more we add, the more textures we add, the more polys we add, all that stuff, it'll really start to chug. This is a lower poly model, but I'm adding a lot of textures. Metal. This one probably doesn't have to. Oh, it has some like these look like staples, so maybe that'll pop up with some metal. And we can take. I like to take our smoothness around to like that's a little bright. I'll bring it down to like 55, and same with our metallic. I'll bring that up. That'll kind of sharpen up some of those looks to it. But now it looks like a burnished leather almost. It has an emission option. I don't think there's anything in there. I'll click on it and I'll X out of it if there's nothing changes. Nope, nothing changes. So let's go ahead and get rid of that emission. And there's our orc hood. Let's go ahead and hit next step. All right, where do we want this? I want this on the head. Not hair, I want this on the head because it's gonna go around the head. Places it in relatively right spot. Keep source dimensions. Nah. Next step. All right, let's go ahead and scale it up. Move it back. Get it over our head. It's a little big still. I like to go a little big first and then kind of correct downwards. It's going to have stuff underneath it. So I'm going to leave it right about there. You only need to match it about 60% of the way because METATAILOR will do the rest of the magic itself. So you can see these ears popping out. It should push those ears out. It's sitting a little high up here. That's okay because we're still bringing those shoulders. We don't need to do a pose match because it's just going over the head. So let's go ahead and hit confirm and next step. And don't worry, we'll definitely need to do some pose matches here in a little bit. All right, it's thinking about it. So it didn't quite cover up those ears, so we have a couple options. It is set to effects layering. We could come in here, and if we wanted to, we could grab our push-pull, sculpt original, and just kind of pull that out a little bit. 2 little click. Pull that out a little bit. And kind of leave it at that, and we can make more adjustments as we go along. So that's a really easy way to pull out the mesh and kind of get that in there. If I want to pull a shrink wrap, I can get that a little bit tighter too. But I like kind of the bagginess of it. I don't know if I want to shrink wrap it because shrink wrapping it makes it look odd. I really like the looseness of it not being shrunken. The other way I was going to say you could kind of clean those ears up is under your tailoring tab, we could check auto visibility, which will delete any faces that aren't seen on our model. And so you can see it's kind of jagged right about there. But that'll delete any of those faces and have this render a little bit slower. I'm going to keep that turned off for now, just so I can keep working, seeing if it starts to get slow, I'll turn that back on. All right, we're back to our layers. Let's go to import. Let's grab something else. Let's grab those shoulders because that's the next thing we kind of have to worry about here. So we have our hood. Let's grab those shoulders. Very cool. Those pulled in nicely. All right, we got shoulders matte. That's just one matte. Perfect. Flip back to textures. Shoulders, shoulder albedo. Just checking our chats. Dial up that value so you can see that all the way. Shoulder normal. Really nice scratched metal shoulders. Normal. Ambient occlusion. Ooh, that was some nice pocking, right? Like pock marks like there. I just clicked on ambient occlusion. There's our occlusion map. Roughness. Grab our roughness map. Metal. And like I said, there's no emissions. So we'll leave the emissions out of it. Maybe there's emissions on those potions. Maybe that has some emissions to it, but there's no emissions on this. So I like to dial my smoothness up, make this a little bit shinier, affect some of that metallic and that roughness. Pulling this all the way up makes it a little too dark, so I'm going to keep it right around the 60s. Those feel nice and shiny. You can see how the light is interacting with like this rusted spot right here. I can't change the light while I'm in this very first section, but when we go back to our design tab, once we're through this, we can see how that applies. All right, next step. I'm going to call this a backpack because it's sitting on the shoulders right here. So I'm going to call this a backpack instead of a shirt. Next step. All right, let's scale them down. Whoa. Make sure you're uniformly scaling. Bring them up. Sitting right here. All right. Whoa. Okay, scale them. So this might be where it would be a benefit to bring them in as separate pieces, one on either side. That's still pretty good. It's very wide that way. So let's bring it back down this way. That's pretty good. my brain is automatically like defaulting to Warhammer 40k or World of Warcraft, where the pauldrons must be massive. It is a requirement. So let's go ahead and confirm and do start pose match. I'm going to bring these shoulders out and bring these elbows down, and it's going to look a little goofy. I'm making our arms a little bit extra big here. To match this, I'm going to pull my elbow down a little bit, in a little bit, to match that direction. So I pull my shoulders out to make them a little bit bigger, and that way it'll help kind of like scale that down. Bring my arms in. Because the farther you pull your arm away, the bigger the model gets, which is helpful when you have oddly sized pieces. So if you needed something massive, you could do that. I don't really have anything massive. I will pull it forward a little bit. I think that'll be good. But if anything, I might go back and bring these in as separate pieces, 2 separate sides. Because they're also affecting the sides differently. All right, let's hit confirm and see how this is, and we'll see if we want to bring this in. Oops, we have our pose match, we have our position. Next step, let's watch it tailor it in. To our T-pose. All right, let's bring it underneath the hoods. The hood's not working too hard. That looks good. It's a little small. Once again, bringing it in as individual pieces would let you really kind of customize the size of each of these. So we might do that at the end. Depending on how much time we have, depending on how long we go, we might end up doing that. All right, let's import it in another piece. Let's grab our exports. Let's grab the chest. Orc armor. Fong 13. So let's go to color and take it back and go to our texture, our armor, take a look at our albedo. All right, that worked. I love it when it just works. It just works perfectly. Normal. Occlusion. This one will definitely benefit from that occlusion. Roughness. Metallic. Bring up our smoothness, give it a little bit of a shine, sitting right about 59. Bring up our metallic. Not too high, because I want to see some of that silver. So sitting around a 68. Excellent, excellent piece of armor right here. So it's showing us there's our armor base, our armor belts, but because they're all the same texture, it just worked. Next step. We'll call this one a shirt. All right, we got to go in and pose match it. So let's move it first. I always like to aim for the neck hole when I'm posing a shirt, posing armor like this. How does it sit on our character's neck? And then from that, I can really start to kind of jump in there. And this size is actually pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit confirm and start our pose match. And I'm going to pull our hips forward to give it a little bit more of this like dynamic look to it. I'll pull them in a little bit, make it a little bit thinner. But our chest is pretty perfect. So I think I'm just going to bring our elbows down, maybe our shoulders in a little bit, bring our hands down, hands forward, elbows down, elbows in, hands in. Kind of match this pose. Pull that down right there. And I'll go ahead and hit confirm. Maybe I'll scale it down just a little bit. But I could also do that with my shrink wrap. But once again, I like the thickness of this leather. Maybe I don't want to shrink wrap it. Maybe we want to avoid that. So let's go ahead and hit confirm. And next step. How does that sit on our body? It's going on top of everything. Quickly drag it beneath everything. All right. It's beneath those, beneath you. Grab our hood, put our hood underneath that. Ooh, our hood's nice and tucked in. That looks cool. I'll definitely want to fix these shoulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear these shoulders out. We want to make those bigger and more impressive. But our hood is either tucked in or not tucked in with our amazing dynamic layering. So if I didn't want it tucked in, I'd probably want to bring it down a little bit more or edit it and kind of push and pull to kind of get this to sit sculpt original. Nice big brush. Maybe do our grab instead. Grab our grab, nice big brush, and kind of pull this down a little bit so it's sitting on top of that armor a little bit better. Remember, that's if you didn't want this tucked in, which like I said, I really like the look of this layered leather. So I'll do that, hit confirm. That's sitting a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and bring in some more pieces. So the one we thought we might have an issue with was our vambrace. Let's pull in our vambrace. So it's a question of, do we need to delete this cap or not? Let's go ahead and find out live. Just one texture, just one armor. Grab our color, go back to our textures. Hands, armors. So yeah, hands, armor right there. Hands, armor, albedo. Dial up our value so we can really see that all the way up. Add all of our other bits. Our normal map. Our occlusion. Our roughness. Our metallic. Dial up our smoothness to right about 65. That's looking good. Dial up our metallic. A little too dark, so let's keep that down in the 50s. All right, next step. So for this one, because it's on the arm, I think I'm going to call it... I'm thinking either a belt. It's going to try to... So the belt will want it to bind it to the waist. So maybe... I'm deciding here. I don't want to call it an accessory, because an accessory binds it to a bone, and it doesn't really apply that dynamic layering where it wraps around the object. Instead, we'll call this... I've called them belts before. Let's call it a shirt. Let's call it a shirt and just do part of it. My only worry is, does shirt have the... Because I'm doing this live, does shirt have the mirror option? We'll find out. Let's move. Rotate. Reset. Let's move it into place first if we're going to lose our rotate like that. So you can either try to match the pose to the piece, but sometimes I do find matching the piece to the pose can be a little easier. All right, that's looking good. Let's move forward a little bit. So because it's like nicely sitting on top of the arm here, on top of the hand, don't have to worry about those fingers. Like I said, it's like a plate on the back of the hand. Now it's just a lot of noodling to get it right in the exact right spot. Let's put it right about there. That's looking pretty good. Let's rotate it back a little bit. Go. All right, let's hit confirm. Let's do our pose match, and we'll just pull our hand back a little bit, pull our hand up a little bit like that. Pull over a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and hit confirm. Moment of truth. Let's hit next step and see how well this sits on our body. All right, that sits pretty well. You can see it's kind of left a big kind of chunk here based on just the size of this versus the size of probably the model that it was on. The model probably had much larger forearms. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of that. So I can rearrange it. It's not quite working the way I want it to by rearranging it. So maybe I'll just undo that and just leave that kind of thickness to it. That's a little bit better. Let's go ahead and hit confirm and see how that does. Right, that's sitting nicely. Right, does it have the mirror? It has the mirror option. Perfect. Snap it over to the other side. He's got those cool Van Brace armors. Let's take a quick peek at our animation while we're here. Let's see, male sprint. Let's see, sword and shield attack. Catwalk. Back to our bind pose. In here, by the way, is where you can kind of crank up your exposure if you want to brighten your scene a little bit. You can change your field of view, zooming in, zooming out. But this rotation here changes the lighting. So if you wanted to see the lighting somewhere else, if I wanted to see it on the back of the character, some of that, I can do that. All right, go back to our tools. I think that's it for this guy. Or not for this guy, for this piece right here, these Van Braces. Let's go ahead and import something else. Cloth and accessory. Maya. So we got the armor. We don't want to do the flasks and rings yet. We got the hood. We don't have the knife. We can grab the pant or our toga. Let's grab our toga. All right, so this one's just Fong 12. It's got a whole bunch of different toga parts. You can click on each one of those parts to kind of highlight them, see what they are. But let's go ahead and grab color, texture, open up toga, cross our fingers. It's just one, so let's go ahead and hit open. Amazing. So while there are some hiccups on how this person created it, there are some really great features on how this person on CGTrader created this that really make this stand out. And I like how easy the textures work. It's well UV'd. They're all set up nicely. I hit the wrong one. Ambient occlusion. Roughness. Oh, I did. Their roughness is hard to see. Metal, metallic. Dial up our values so we can see all those wonderful colors. Take a look at our smoothness, add a little shininess to that leather right there so we can see those changes in color, and our metallic so that our little metal bits and bobs all over shine. Beautiful. We're gonna call this one, we'll call this one a skirt. Because it sits around the waist and the rest of it kind of like just dangles and flaps. So we'll call this side a skirt. Next step, we'll go ahead and scale it. Bring it up nice and high, sitting right around the waist. Right there, scale it down. Bring it forward, just cover on the thighs. Bring it out a little bit, let's scale it out a little bit. This one, I think we'll have to use some of our tools on a little bit more. We only need to get about 60% of the way there. And look at these pads. These are really big compared to our character. So, confirm, start pose match. I don't think there's much. Maybe I'll bring his hips in a little bit. Try bringing his thighs down a little bit, make those a little bit thicker. Right around there. Awesome. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. Next step and see what that does for us. That did a pretty good job. Okay. I like that. There we go. He could use an undershirt that's not available, that didn't come with it. So maybe we'll jump into our marketplace and grab like a undermail chain shirt or something like that to go under all of this. Maybe we'll just do that right now. Content browser, marketplace, clothing. We could take a peek at full body just to see what they have. Something that maybe fits this fantasy theme that's not our race car driver uniform or a dress or anything like that. That's the whole Brunhilde dress. Okay, that doesn't quite do it. Wrap stuff up neatly, but I'm trying to kind of cover his little belly area right there. So I thought maybe that one, but that didn't quite do it. What about this? Does this look too sci-fi in certain spots? It's going to try to overwrap everything, but I want to take a look at it. Not necessarily. It's weird that it's kind of like vacuum sealing everything. Let's bring it to the bottom. That's not too bad. We're going to cover some of that up anyway. That might work for us. Let's leave it on there for now. Warden's tunic, that could have worked too. But that was our Cyber Sentinel body. That's from the marketplace. That'll probably work for us. All right, let's go to import. Cloth and accessories. Assassin MT. My exports. And grab our last real piece of armor here before we fix our shoulders. And that's going to be our pant, our singular pant. Pant and boot. There it is. Leg mat. Let's go ahead and add that color in there. Texture legs with 2 Gs. Normal. Ambient occlusion. Roughness. Metallic. Dial up our value, see those wonderful colors. Dial up our smoothness, see those changes in roughness and texture. Dial up our metallic, maybe bring that down a little bit. Dial up our metallic. Have everything on there nice and shiny. Next step. So we can call it a shoe, have it attached to the foot bone, or I can call it, like I said, pants. And if our shirt has the option for mirroring, so should this. I think I want this to kind of attach to like the thigh, knee area. So I think I'm going to call that pants. I'm trying to think of how I want it to like consider the skin weights. Let's do this. And scale it. That's looking pretty good. Okay. I scaled it to the side first so that I could get a sense of how big I needed to make it before I went into my pose match. So I'm trying to scale it over the model. I'm kind of just fighting with myself. So I moved it over to the side first. And then I can just kind of bring it back in. I only need about a 60% match. I'm going to keep saying that because it's truly mind-boggling that I don't have to sit here and make sure every single piece is perfect. I can let METATAILOR do some of that work for me. Confirm. Next step. Warps it, brings it into place, puts it over the top. Look at that. Can't really see a lot of that black in there. That's exactly what I was looking for. Mirror, bring it over to the other side. That's a pretty cool assassin outfit. So these pants are going on top of some of these armor. So it's trying to tuck the armor inside of there. So all I have to do is bring those underneath the toga. And I'll even bring them underneath the armor. I'll bring them all the way down. So it's not affecting, the armor's way up here, but that way it's not affecting anything dangling or hanging, and the layering order is correct. Brilliant, brilliant. I feel like I should save where I'm at. I really love the look of this. And while this is taking, I don't even know what time it is, while this is taking us almost an hour for it to go, it's been super easy. All of the different like taking it out of Maya, bringing it into METATAILOR. It is easy. It is fun. It feels like we're dressing a character. It's like it's very gamified. The whole thing is extremely gamified, and I just love creating these characters in here. And we'll keep going. I'm not going to end it here at 10 or 10:05. We'll keep going until I'm done. But I just want to point out how easy this is. It's super simple. So we'll keep chugging along. I'm grabbing one quick thing here. Save image as. I'm going to throw that under our assess. One more texture for the end. All right, so we have the flasks and accessories left. Let's take a look at some of those. So let's go import. We got the shoulders. We'll fix those shoulders in a second too, but I want to pull in some of these other items. I want to look at stuff we haven't seen yet. Oops, that's the base mesh, my exports. So we have the armor. We need the bottle with the ring, the bottle strap, flask ring, flask strap, flask, hood, knife, pants. Let's do the, I've got an idea for the knife. So let's do an easy one. Let's see how it looks. Let's do the orc bottle ring. So here's the bottle. It's got a little ring on the back to attach to something. We'll go to colors, texture, accessories, albedo for glass. Ooh, do we have two separate fongs in here? Oops, I gotta pull that back up. Cancel. No, just one fong. So we might not be able to see all of it because it's got the inside and the outside. But let's go ahead and go back to color, texture, accessories. So this we would need to like really dial in. Yeah, see how it's added that color? It's not giving me two separate maps, two separate textures because it's got the same texture on both the ring and the bottle. So I would have to separate all those out and bring them in as individual pieces for it to work. That's a little bit much. So there's the color for the glass. I think that's more of a... Let's do this. Let's grab the normal map. And let's grab the ambient occlusion. Let's grab our roughness. Let's grab our metallic. Bring our value down a little bit. If we wanted to, we can make it our own color. And we can call this one accessory. And with an accessory, it doesn't really apply. You just kind of move it where you want it, scale it how big you want it. Something a little bit smaller. Oops. Let's move it out, scale it down. Whoa, we are inside this bottle. Right about that size. Where do you want to put it? This one we can hang it from this ring right here. So texture's not great because like I said, I have to go in and grab like each individual piece on one of those. All right, and it's trying to affect the layering a little bit. That's looking pretty neat. Let's try a different one. Import cloth accessory. Let's grab that flask strap because I feel like this orc flask strap right here could be really helpful. Once again, we'll go back to our accessories, texture, accessories, regular albedo. Gives us that texture. Awesome. Normal map. Ambient occlusion, roughness, metallic. Bring up our value all the way. Bring up our smoothness to about mid 50s. Bring up our metallic right there. All right, next step, accessory. Keep source dimensions nice and small. We'll keep the source dimensions on this one. Next step. Move it anywhere, doesn't matter. Confirm. Next step. All right, let's bring this over to the belt right here. Let's grab you, rotate you around, kind of like attach you right there on the belt. Put you in right there. Confirm, right to the hips. Kind of overlaps that belt, builds in with that belt. Let's quick grab another one. My content. All. By date added ascending. Nope, let's do descending then. I can just do accessories. I don't have that many accessories. Sort by same thing. Descending, date added. Flask strap, apply. Put another one on here. Over here, take it, rotate it, move it out. Confirm, we got 2 of them on there, perfect. Now I'm gonna bring in 2 things. I'm gonna bring in another flask, import cloth and accessories, assassin MT, my exports. This will be the just the flask. Let's see what your LB though. Let's see how you look. Without considering the glass. So there you go. So that's what I was talking about. So the inside is showing us just the liquid. The outside for the glass shows us essentially nothing. So this one will just kind of treat it the same way as the other one. And this is nothing to do with METATAILOR. This is just a failing of, I mean, you can kind of see the idea of depth. This has to do with them not giving us enough textures, enough different things to apply this to. So we'll just do this. I won't even add the other ones. I'll crank up our value. Make this one blue. And I'll even get rid of our normal map. Just have it sit like that. Keep source dimensions. Call it an accessory. Next step. Bring it out. Perfect. Confirm. Next step. I can come in here. I can apply it right in the same spot. I'll take you, rotate you, rotate you. Don't even need to scale you. I can just kind of slot you in right here. Bring you out a ways, bring you over. Right there, so it's sitting inside that strap. You can see it's not quite perfect around there. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. And I'm gonna bring that underneath these straps right here. So those straps sit on top of it. You affect the layering, you affect your layering. Okay, I guess I do need to just kind of cheat it in a little bit then. I was hoping it would do a little bit more of that work for me, but that's still awesome. And for you, because you got all that weird stuff, I'll just clear the normal. A little too vibrant coming in here. Turn down the saturation, it's not matching. Or turn down the value. There we go. It's not matching the whole vibe of our character here. Same with you. All right, this last strap right here, well, we know all the rest of the orc straps and stuff like that won't work the way we wanted to. It'll take a little extra work. So if I tried to grab, so that was flask. If I try to grab bottle strap or flask ring, it'll do the same thing. But the other little loop here, I wanted to finally bring in our orc knife. This will be the last thing before we go in and fix our shoulders. Bring in our wonderful little orc knife here. Texture, assassin, textures, weapon, albedo. Gotta have that normal. Is that going to give us some depth right there? It does give us some amazing depth right there. Ambient occlusion, same thing. Add more depth to that handle. Roughness. And wrap it up with our metallic. Give our metallic a nice bright shine. Bring our smoothness up. Bring our value all the way up. It's a cool looking knife. Next step. Keep source dimensions. Yeah, I might make it a little bit bigger, but we'll start with that. What did I call it? It's called a jacket. Keep source dimensions. Call it an accessory. Next step. About to say, there shouldn't be pose matching with accessories. Bring it up here. We can kind of put it in his hand and see if we need to make it bigger. It's a pretty big handle, but we can always make it bigger. We like big weapons. So if you wanted to put one in his hand, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. You could come up, snap it to one of his like left hand index. Don't bake the offsets. Okay, reset. Let's quick reset, confirm. Let's quick actually delete that and grab that accessory again because I clicked in the wrong spot. Clothing, accessories, bring in my orc knife, apply. All right, so I didn't want to click that early. We can come in here. We can put it right here along the belt line right there. Rotate. Now this strap doesn't make much sense. How am I going to pull this knife out of this little strap here without cutting the strap? But hey, it's the rule of fantasy. We don't question fantasy. Maybe it has a little button there. You can see that right there. Maybe that button is like a little clasp that pops out when he grabs it. If I can get that in that little strap right there, that's my goal. Put it on the hips. Big offset. All right. Confirm. Grab you, put you above the orc knife. Scale you out. Put you in. Confirm. Look at that. We got a little knife on the side of his tool belt. We can grab another one. Maybe he's got two. Maybe he keeps one in his hand. Firm. There we go. Really cool looking assassin. Maybe he's got two knives, a couple potions. Really cool looking character. Let's get those shoulders. I'm going to save this where it's at. Minimize it. I'm going to open up my Maya. And let's take a look at those shoulders. Let's bring those shoulders as two separate things. While it's doing that, while it's open up Maya, let's go ahead and grab our avatar's head right here, head mat. Grab those. There we go. Left eye matte. Color. Eye texture. So he looks a little less scary. Grab those eyeballs. I'm really happy with this character, everybody. I think it looks fantastic. There's Maya. So this time, I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Import, Desktop. I'm going to find that FBX. I'm going to find my Assassin, my exports. I'm not going to bring up the whole thing. I'm just going to grab the Orc Shoulder FBX. And then I can hit F. All right, I've got these two shoulders here. I'm going to shift right click and hit Separate. Grab this side, everything on this side right here, and hit Combine. Everything on this side right here, and hit Combine. And now let's go ahead and export these two out. This one's going to be, I'm going to consider it character right, not our right. So that's going to be, this is the back side. This is the front side. So I'm going to call this our right shoulder. I don't know how many times this is mirrored from streaming to camera to streaming to camera, but I'm calling this side our right side because for me, that's the right side of our character. So File, Export Selection, back to our desktop, My Exports, and we'll quick call this Orc Shoulder. And we'll just call it R. Export Selection. Grab this one right here, File, Export Selection, Orc Shoulder, L. Export Selection. All right, that's all I needed to do. Don't need to save it. Now we can import those in. Cloth Accessory, my export. We want Shoulder L, because that's the cooler one. That's the one with the big old blade on it. Color. We should be able to still go into the textures. It shouldn't affect the textures at all. Go into shoulders and grab that albedo because the way the UV maps are set. Okay. Because why? Grab Maya again. Let's try something else to troubleshoot this. File, Import, Desktop, Assassin. Let's grab it all. So hypothetically, let's first do two things and see if either of these two things work. Let's get rid of this nonsense right here. There's you. Assign new material. I'm just going to throw a Fong on there. METATAILOR likes Fongs. Grab File. I'm going to preview it in here and see if I run into the same issue. I do. I do. So it wasn't history. I have File, Import, Shoulder, Import. Oh, still got that one from, oops. Get rid of you. Shoulders matte. So it works with both of them, but it's not working with one of them. And you can see even that it has some transparency to it. Very strange. Let's do that. That. File, export selection. It's remembering some sort of alpha mat channel that was put in there from before. So let's do, and that is our left. Yes, so I destroyed that connection. Cancel. Import cloth accessory. My exports L. Open. Ha ha ha. So for some reason, when they originally created this, they connected the alpha channel of that albedo to the alpha channel of the model itself. So when I brought in that texture, it applied that alpha channel. That would have been really helpful for our flasks to kind of create some of those alpha channels. So I don't know why they did it for this way. It's probably an older model. I don't know how long ago they made this. So I just broke that alpha channel connection. Now that's a little highbrow. That's a little high-end Maya use that I didn't want to get into, but I did just want to get this shoulder working for this stream. So if you're familiar with Maya, you know what I just did. If you're unfamiliar with Maya, this might be something you reach out onto our Discord, join our Discord community for any questions. We answer those questions as fast as we can. Make sure you like and subscribe as well. And if for any more YouTube videos where I might walk through how to troubleshoot that, or you can review more of these videos if it happens again in the future, feel free to ask me these questions if you run into those issues, and we can troubleshoot and see what's going on. But that's kind of just how I discovered it right there. All right, let's go ahead and go to our normal map. All the other maps should be fine. That should have been the only one with any sort of alpha channel applied to it. Couldn't think of my thoughts. Everything else should be fine. Nothing else really renders out any alpha channels. And that's kind of the nature of this. Something like that, a troubleshooting like that, I can't just guess. I have to go in, I have to noodle, I have to poke my fingers in it and see what could be happening. Values all the way up, beautiful. Smoothness up in our 60s. Metallic up in our 40s. Next step. Still think of calling this a backpack. Nah. Like I said, I like big pauldrons. Let's move this one up. And now that these are separated, I get the option of moving and scaling and placing them on their own, which just is super beneficial. Once again, I can move it to the model. I could prep it around the model instead of moving the model to the piece itself. I'm going to have to move the model a little bit, but not much. Bring that arm down right there. Hand down. Hand forward. Over. Elbow over. Look at that. That looks pretty spot on. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. Next step. So added a little bit of a bend there, but it's sitting on top of everything nicely. That's not too bad. And if we wanted to, we could mirror this. That's a pretty cool full armor set right there. Or take that mirror off. And did I keep Maya open? I did keep Maya open. So I could back it up like a Tonka truck. Grab this side. You're fine. Shouldn't have, but I can still see that alpha mask applied. So let's pop into our Hypershade editor. That's what this little ball is right here. We can watch me do it live a second time. We can grab our Hypershade editor. In here, I found, this is called Fong for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and find Fong 1. And I'm just going to right click and drag to Graph Network. This shows me the whole network right here. And I can see that it is pulling something out of here and putting it into our transparency channel. I'm going to grab that little noodle right there, click it, drag it off, destroy it, close out of our Hypershade editor, and our colors. Why are you still doing that? Okay. Oh, because your shoulders matte. You're still shoulders matte. Hypershade editor. You're not Fong. You're not Fong. Be gone, Fong. All right, I did too much. Yes, close. Don't send the report. Do I want to pull you? So, okay, there it goes. I was about to say that strap didn't look like it was going all the way over, but it is. And it's going over the hood, but the hood is staying over that, so that's looking good. All right, while we wait for Maya to officially crash, what we can do is let's transfer this. So one thing that we do have a little bit of an issue sometimes with is if we go to our avatars and I wanted to say apply this to a female character, a female avatar right here. Transfer it. Sometimes the accessories do not move over properly. Everything else should move just fine. But the accessories sometimes have a hard time because they're attaching to a certain bone. And if I didn't bake that offset properly, they might not land properly, but that's okay. You could always go in and fix those, or for now, just turn them off. And look at that. It just jumped to this avatar seamlessly. There it is under the hood. Everything's still matching. Her ears are a little bit bigger, so we might have to do that same kind of push-pull on our hat. We could probably even just pull it up a little bit higher like that. Just the shape of her head is different. There we go. So that would just need a little bit of work to get that to land there, but that's still looking good. Looking fantastic. Female assassin. And more of a T-pose. Back to our content browser. This is a metahuman I pulled. Transfer. From Unreal. Let's see how it fits on our character tray here. Different build, bigger muscles. That looks really cool. I even, like his eyeballs don't have that same texture the other one has. Those look really cool. Gives him this kind of like magic assassin vibe. Eyes glowing out from underneath the hood. Very cool. So see, this is where it's like, I feel like in D&D or any sort of fantasy game that you're playing, any sort of tabletop game, you can have a lot of fun. If you bring in the proper avatar for your character and you bring in all the armor, you create armor, you find armor online that matches it, you can create a really neat looking character for your tabletop games or anything that you're working with. This works great for video games, movies. We got people making films and stuff using METATAILOR right now, and it's just mind-blowing. Everything I was using today was in the pro version of METATAILOR, so hop on, $10 first month. Get in there, play with it, see if you like it. You will, and then it'll be back to its normal pricing the months after that. But this is all these pro features to make these really cool characters. You watch me play a little bit in Maya, just to kind of show you how to kind of prep this stuff, get it out, troubleshoot some things if your textures aren't working. We're going to be releasing a video soon on how to kind of change these textures in something like Substance Painter, so look out for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Join us on our Discord channel. We're going to try to keep streaming on Friday, so watch out for us next Friday. Once again, like and subscribe, hit that bell, and I will meet you all, see you guys all next Friday. I think we're aiming for more in the afternoon based on Central Standard Time, so this right now, we started at about 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're ending at about 10:30 Central Standard Time. So if you're not in that time zone, you can do that math in your head. We're going to be rolling at about 9-10 hours earlier than this one was about next week. So that's pretty much all I have for everybody. I didn't see any more questions pop up. Jump over to here. Just my face. Okay. Did Maya ever crash? No, Maya never finished crashing. All right, I think that's it for tonight's stream. Just checking to make sure there's no other questions or anything like that. On any of our channels, nothing in the METATAILOR channel, nothing in the YouTube channel. So yeah, go on there, try out Pro.